Hi guys, in the previous tutorial we look at how to retrieve data from a table or how to retrieve data from a database, and we did something like select star from employees. This is the name of our table, the table we're going to be spending a lot of our time on. We're going to be analyzing the data in this table. Okay, so it's going to be our focus table for this tutorial. So if I want to see all the data in this table, I want to return or pull or retrieve all the data in this table, all I need to do is to write select star from this table. So select means return or retrieve or print, show me all the data in this table. So when you run your query in this window, this is query editor, is going to be displayed here on the output window here. So if I say select star, which means select all from employees, if I run this, it returns 1000 records. You see, it says 1000 rows affected. And if I scroll down, see we have 1000. So all we have in this table is 1000 rows. And let's spend some time on the columns that we have. So this table is HR table. Okay, this table is used to keep employees data. So as you can see, the first column is employee ID, and this is unique. Employee ID is unique. Your employee ID at work is unique as well. It has to be unique, just like your SSN is unique. Each employee has a first name, last name, email, hire date, department, gender, salary, and region ID. Okay, and if you look at the data type we have, employee ID is an integer, can see is number. We talked about data type in previous tutorial. So if you have missed any of the previous tutorial, you just maybe you just come across this tutorial. We've had some series of tutorials, so look for previous tutorials so you can be on the same page with us. And you can see first name, the data type is character varying. The same thing for last name, email as well. Then hire date, data type for hire date is date. We talked about all this, what it means when you say data type. Okay, we can see it playing out here. For salary, since all we have is number, so it's integer, that's the data type. And region ID too is number, so is integer. Don't forget that integer is an example of number. Okay, so select star from employees will return everything. But if we don't want to see everything, I can as well say specify the column that I want to see. So if I want to see employee ID column, first name, last name, from where? From employees, because this is employee table. So all I want to see is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So I want to see employee ID, first name, last name from this table. So let's run this. So it's only giving me um, 3 columns, but I still have 1000 rows. So in an enterprise environment, in a real world environment, if you're working as a data analyst, you might not be able to do select all, select star, because usually we have millions of records, billions of records, trillions of records. So if you run select star in an enterprise environment, this is going to run for like forever. Okay, it's going to just keep running and running, and that way is going to be consuming resources. There are several data analysts that an organization will have. Imagine that you work at Netflix or you work with Amazon. You can imagine the number of data analysts will have, or the number of people that will be using the same table you are using the same database you are using. So you can't just tie down resources like that. And if you want to explore a table, when you get a business requirement, the first thing you want to do is to get to know your table before you start writing your query. At least you want to know the kind of data you have in that table. That's when we usually need to run this select star just to get to know our table. But in order to know this table, do I really need to do select all? Do I really need to see all the data? No, I can just see maybe 5 or 10 records, and that will tell me everything that I have in that table. So because of this, there is this keyword I want to introduce to you, and that is called limit. Uh, I like to write it in uppercase. If you do in lowercase, it's still fine, but I just personally is my personal preference. So limit. If I do select all and run, this is showing me 1000 records, but I'm saying where I have billions of records and I don't want to do select star. What can I do to reduce the number of records that will be returned? I can just add this and say maybe limit 500 and run. So now we have 500 rows affected. See, when I scroll down, we have 500. I can equally do whatever you want to limit it to. I can say limit 10 is returning just 10 records. If I change this to maybe limit 1, I can see just one record. And whatever exploration I want to do on this table, whatever I want to do on this table, these 10 records, even one row will tell me, because all I want to know is what are the fields or columns that are available in this table. This is a table. And inside table we have data. And a table is inside a database. A database is inside an RDBMS, Relational Database Management System. So all I need to know during exploration of a table is what are the columns I have, which of the columns is a primary key field. And from here, we also talked about it in previous tutorial. Employee ID happens to be the primary key field for this table. So none of the data here is allowed to be repeated or can be null. That's the principle for primary key. Okay, so what you want to know is available to you with just 10 records or even with one record. You can see all the relevant columns: first name, last name, email, hire date, department, gender, salary, and region ID. So if you want to get to know your table, explore your table, or you don't need to return all the records in the table, this is handy for you to use. Limit. Just limit it by the number of records you want to see. And with this limit, I can also specify the columns I want to see. I only want to return 10 rows or 10 records, but I don't want to see all the columns as well. I only want to see maybe employee ID, first name, last name, and email. So you can remove the all and just say and specify the field you want or the columns you want. I want first name, last name from employees. So all I want to see now is employee ID, first name, last name from employees table. And I don't want to see 1000 rows. I only want to see 10. This will still work. If I come here and still add one more column, as long as you put comma to mark the end of one column, is fine. So if I still want to see email, it's going to add email. So it's still possible with limits. And if I want to limit this by 1 and run, it's going to give me. Okay, so that's the essence of limits. That's the essence of limit. Okay, so in this tutorial, I've shown you how to use limit to reduce or to determine the number of records you want to see in your query. Okay, so far you know what select is, and you know why you need to use from is to specify your data source, that is your table where data is coming from, and limit is to reduce or specify the number of rows or the number of records you want your query to return. In the next tutorial, we're going to continue building on our skill. Like I've always been saying from day one, that this is going to be an end-to-end tutorial. I will try as much as possible to cover all the basics. And as we go from basic topics, we're going to move into some intermediate topics and possibly some advanced concepts as well. Thank you so much for watching. And if you don't want to miss any of the upcoming tutorials, make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss any of the tutorials. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.